Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Expansionscapes and our project on connecting to the Elder Futhark runes. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the rune Wunjo. So every one of us here it has already connected separately to the rune. And I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Wunjo. And then we're going to share what we got. And if you'd like to have more information on the project, why we're doing this at all, you can go to the description box under the video and check out the project details. Since we're finishing the first et of the runes, I wanted to share something about the runes and how we connect to them. So if you notice, we have 3 people besides myself today. So we have Shruti Venukumar join us, the regular team of me, Ryan, and Rosa. And this was actually my intention when we started to do this. I was interested in people of different backgrounds, different understandings, different perceptions, connecting to the same thing, which has no words, like an energy or soul frequency. I don't know what word to use it, but connect to something. People of like different people as possible, I guess, to connect to the thing that has no words, and then share it with words. And I wanted to see what happens. So for the ending of this et, we have a new person join our group, which I think is pretty cool. So I wanted to give a little intro on this. I was tuning into this today, and I got how we connect to something that has no words. But when we use words to describe something that has no words and very, very kind of big, concept-y, wisdom-like, I feel like when we use words, we are kind of limiting what we got, what we connected to. So when we use words, we are naturally limiting that thing, but there's no other way to go about it, in a way. And then I thought in one way we are limiting it, but in another way, the words that Rosa would be using, the words that Ryan would be using, the words that Shruti would be using, the words that I'm using, those words are kind of like flavoring or giving a taste of who we are to what we connected to. It's like if Rosa is sharing something, she's sharing a part of herself because of her unique desires, perspectives, understandings, wants, needs, everything. It's like when I'm listening to Rosa talk about something that has no words and we're all connected to, I can feel, I want to say like, I can feel the taste of Rosa, which may sound weird, but it's like she's flavoring that unspoken thing with her own self, with her own Rosa-ness. And I was also thinking of how there are academics who write that the runes are just letters, and there's nothing more to that. They are just letters, and all the people who try to connect and think about something like woo-woo stuff, like, oh, divination or souls or consciousness or something, they say that, well, it's just, maybe because you watch too many Vikings movies, or maybe you want to become a witch or something like that. So there is a group of people who say that runes are just letters and nothing else. And then there's other kind of people who connect to runes like us from the perspective of animism, where we feel that saying something like it's just a letter does not mean that it doesn't have a soul. We approach the world as like it's conscious, it's alive, and it's conscious, and I mean, like, this table is not just a table. It has a consciousness. It has a soul. We could be connecting to this table too and talking about this table from different perspectives. And I remember how I used to study Kabbalah from one rabbi. And he said that the Hebrew alphabet, the ancient Hebrew alphabet, every single letter has wisdom, has, I mean, I can't explain with my words again, it's limiting, but every single letter has a kind of almost like a gigantic frequency, or like he didn't use the word consciousness, but he said it has a wisdom, and people can actually study for years each letter of the Hebrew alphabet and connect to that letter and learn from each letter, and during that time transform by themselves. And in fact, in the Hebrew tradition, they say that God created the universe with letters. And he also mentioned that it's not just the Hebrew alphabet. He said it's every single alphabet in the world, like ancient and modern, and every single alphabet that we have in the world. Every single language. He said you can connect to every single word, and it's going to be a complete system of wisdom. And in Hebrew tradition, they say that God created the world with those letters, with letters. And when I connected to that, I was feeling like, what is letters in the communication system, that I was having so much trouble that all four of us are going to share using letters, words. How limiting is that? And then I got to this big, amorphous, like kind of like wordless, let's say God, or whatever, source, whatever it is, creating a world, physical world, using letters. And I thought, isn't that the perfect thing to use? Because when we use language, our communication, our understanding of stuff for us humans, it's so limiting. And it's kind of like making a physical place, a world realm, which is limiting. But my guides keep telling me that switch the word limiting to focusing. So they keep saying, they're saying something like with the letters or with symbols or whatever language, when we create a physical world, you're not necessarily, we like to think we're in a limited place, but they're like, try to switch the word to focusing, and like you, like zooming into a particular experience. And when you change your mindset like that, you suddenly become a creator and not a passive passenger in some kind of train. I don't know. I hope this made sense. I really wanted to make this introduction today. Not sure why, but this was just like coming through. Actually, I wanted to make the introduction in the beginning of our project, but I was so afraid of speaking that I never said anything. But now I'm not afraid of speaking, which, yeah, I don't know, thanks to a lot of transformation. So what do you guys think? Do you have anything to say about this? I just rambled on. It may sound like a bunch of crazy ramblings of a crazy person, but do you guys have anything to add to this or change, or I don't know?
Makes sense to me. It's pretty spot on, and it actually makes sense to me why you would say it now before this room in particular. And I'll get more into that when I say my little spiel, but focusing on the intention, that's spot on.
Yes, I already get it. Yes.
Cool.
Okay, so let's just start with Rosa's then. Rosa, what did you get from Rune? And share with us your limited words, flavored with your Rosa-ness. Sorry. Okay.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rosa. And I am joined here, obviously, with Olga and Ryan and Shruthi. Sorry if I'm saying it wrong. Love you, though. You can find me on Facebook, Shamanic Healer Rosa or Healer Rosa. I have some groups. And I am here with so much pleasure to let you guys know what I encountered with my meditation with Wunjo. this beautiful energy. I had actually meditated with this rune a year ago, and I completely and utterly forgot. I meditated again with it this past week. And I find when I meditate with the runes and these energies, it's very different depending on where I am in that moment in my life, that time. I'll get very different information when I connect with the energies because it's specific to you and what you're going through and your perspective at that moment. So this time I got similar stuff, but I also got different stuff that I from last time. And the screaming thing was joy. Joy, 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 joy. There was so much joy in connecting with this rune, Wunjo. But I felt like it was a recipe to the joy. There's a recipe to the joy that I was being shown. It starts with peace, and it also is love. It's also having a focused intention towards joy. It's having focus. And that was a big thing that kept coming to me with this rune, was the focus. Changing your focus. And I asked the rune, well, beloved rune, please help me understand your energy. Please help me to understand how I can see your energy in this earth. And I was told to slow down. Joy is in Wunjo, and joy is in every moment, in every existence, in every molecule, from the big down to the smallest little increment. Slow down. Look at the flowers. Look at the trees. Look at yourself. Look at your finger and your nail. There's joy in that. As weird as that may sound, but there's joy. So long as you slow down and you set the intention to look at everything with gratitude and love, you will find the joy. And I was shown that working with Wunjo will help you to find your passion, to find your truth, to find you. And Wunjo is a medicine. It's an integral part of the life experience. It's something that very few people can really grasp and fully understand and to embody, to master. There was a lot of messages like, don't be afraid to be you for me, because this is what is up for me now. Don't be afraid to be you. There was this pecking energy, which I got both last time and this time, which I thought was interesting. And, like this point part on there, this point on there was like a pecking. It was a pecking energy. It was like breaking away the things in the way of your Wunjo. Let's see. Looking at my notes here because I got so much things. Your dreams, your aspirations, working towards your dreams and your aspirations, towards your passion, towards your rainbow and your pot of gold. Wunjo will help you with that. Helps you to bring more joy where you don't have joy. Helps you to bring more joy where you do have joy. Or where you do have Wunjo. Joy is like such a limiting word in a way, but it's the best word I can come with. to kind of express it. I asked Wunjo, like, why this symbol? Like, why this symbol in the rune symbols? Like, why the energy of Wunjo? And it was that, that it's an integral piece of the puzzle. Without it, you can't have it. It holds everything together. They all hold the whole piece together. But without Wunjo, it's like such an integral part of everything, of your whole existence. And it was a lot, again, a lot with bringing your attention and your focus to that joy, to that Wunjo, to your passion, to your true self, to your pot of gold, to the experience of life, the experience of the journey, to really slowing down and experiencing the journey, the moments of the journey. Joy exists everywhere. If living with joy brings a wonderful existence, breathing with joy brings freedom. Experiencing with joy brings fulfillment to every moment. It's in everything. It's in every molecule. I guess the main thing I said, like, there's so much more I can say, but I just want to summarize and be succinct here, is that if you take away nothing from what I said, I would say the main thing to take away is slow down. Slow down. That. Yeah, slow down and to live your moments with a little bit more joy and to set your intention and focus there with some gratitude and love. And you will find the Wunjo in your life. And so that's the main thing I would say. If you would take away nothing else, I would say take away that. There was one more thing. I asked if they had a message for anyone like watching the video. So where did I go?
That's a nice idea.
Yeah. One was to slow down. Okay. As you're living your life already with Wunjo, whether you acknowledge it or not. It's already there. It may be time to unlock and to acknowledge. It may be time for you to bring more peace and joy and oneness to your life and to your existence. Be silly, let go, laugh more, cry more. Those were the messages I got for the people who are listening from Wunjo. Yeah, so that's the things I got. There was other things that I did ask Wunjo to bless me. I asked Wunjo for a blessing to help me for the things that were coming up. And I felt more free. I felt like things were being lifted off of me. I felt more free. I don't know how else to put it, but more free. It still feels like there's more work to do. There was a serious energy that I was sensing. And there was also like too much to do, too little time. So these were my impatience. These were some of the things that were coming up in the way of my Wunjo. Actually, the morning that I meditated with Wunjo, I had intended on meditating with Wunjo for like 2 weeks straight. And I was like, I'm going to meditate with it a bunch of times. And I had so many blocks come up. Block after block after block after block. And I kept having to work through the blocks and working through them and working through them. In the morning, I woke up and I was like, no, it's like literally no time. It's tomorrow. So I have to do it now. And I was sad. I was sad and I was crying and I had to work through all that to even begin the meditation. So Wunjo was really, really pecking away at my shit. Pecking away at it. And I asked Wunjo I asked Wunjo, stay with me all week. Please help me to continue to grow with you and to learn with you. I also asked Wunjo to empower my little rune here so that I can keep working with it and its energy and its medicine through the piece, but also with connecting to it. Yeah, that's what I got, people. Thank you for listening.
Just that. Thank you so much, Rosa, for sharing. It was really beautiful. Made a lot of sense. Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to say anything now because it's just like what you said. I'm just so connected to it. Yeah, so I'm just gonna ask Ryan. Ryan, dude, what did you get? Share your words with us.
Okay. So with Wunjo, hope I'm saying that right. I'm not sure, but when I started meditating with Wunjo, at first it was first I basically saw like myself underwater and a stingray above, but the stingray had like little fangs and like little cords that were attached to me from the fangs, which was interesting. And then kind of what I got from that was essentially I'm kind of attached to what's eating me, what's hunting me. And there's kind of that weird, probably connection with everything in nature. I mean, I should mention when I started with Wunjo, I asked the energy and consciousness of Wunjo and the Rune to come and share its information, knowledge, and wisdom with me, and like, what's Wunjo all about? And also to clear away preconceived notions and all that. I just want to accurately get what it is. So when the first thing I saw was stingray above me with fangs that were attached to me, and I was underwater. So, yeah, what I got out of that was that kind of attached to what's eating away at me, essentially. And it was kind of interesting, but also that it was penetrating deeper layers, which seemed more like what the Rune was doing. And it was kind of cool as it developed. Basically, I just started kind of chanting Wunjo and got in a little less of a thinky space. And that kind of became more of just like an appreciation. So that was nice. And I noticed with me, there's, there's kind of like a masculine and a female energy to everything. And with what I practice, there's, a male and a female body. So kind of what's been up this whole week is a lot of the wounded female body. And it was kind of interesting because yesterday it came up where I woke up and I couldn't really breathe that well. Basically, there was part of me that didn't express something I wanted to express and just kind of needed reassurance, which was cool because it was just like, some short appreciation for that part, just could breathe again. But the Wunjo kind of just brought out more of that appreciation. And yeah, more of a focus on that appreciation. Kind of really just talking to myself and improving that relationship. It just, for whatever reason, seemed mostly focused on that. So yeah, it was kind of cool for me, where it was just sort of went from this weird thing, which was insightful and like, oh, I should work on that, to more of just like kind of like an appreciation on how to make my day-to-day life better, which was cool. That's what I got from it.
Cool. So just like Rosa said, like you are like it was focusing on some blocks to you actually enjoying yourself in a way. And I'm happy it was working on that thing that was eating at you, because we worked on that thing a lot all together. And thanks Wunjo for helping with that.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of like something Paula told me, which is like, if you're not using your spiritual work to improve your day-to-day life, then what are you doing? And I was like, that's a pretty good damn point.
Yeah.
but yeah, I have a fear of public speaking, but so this in itself is interesting. But the whole Rune kind of, it brought up sort of like really appreciation, that, and there was like, notice there was more openness to like other people after working with it, because I'm not always super open. I don't have a lot of time. I don't have a lot of people, and I get overlooked. So so that was cool. Anyhow, that's my thing.
Cool. Thank you for sharing.
Okay. So this was my first time connecting to a rune. So Olga guided me. She asked me to connect to Odin first. And that was an experience. I mean, I don't think I can really put it into words, because to me, Odin showed himself as this wise father who could bring in good structures in my life. So I grew up having no masculine structures around me, and which meant that I had to create my own structures when it came to safety, security, money, jobs, all of that. So over time, I had come to resist structures. They existed for a reason, but since I always had to be the one to put structures in place so that my life can make sense to me, so that there is cause and effect in my life, there is security in my life, I had a huge problem with structures. And I went into this whole mode where I was like, oh, I don't like structures. There was a whole time in my early 20s when I was in college where I wanted to be an anarchist. I studied political science. So yeah. So I was like, yeah, the world should be, there should be no political structures. There shouldn't be anything at all. We should be allowed to do whatever we want, because that was the level of resistance I had to structures, because I had to create my own structures. And, doing it all by myself, it was taking a lot out of me. And I didn't really have any help. So connecting with Odin gave me, like, I could feel in my body that what it means to be protected by somebody who is stronger than you, and somebody who can give you the necessary structures in life, but at the same time not use them to stifle you. So that's what, and I got, memories from my past when I was a journalist, and back in that life, I call it a different life because my life is like, I'm a completely different person now. Back then, like, if you're into broadcast journalism or even print journalism, if you are sent to take a bite from say, anybody, if you have been sent to take an interview, there is a particular way in which you phrase your questions. There is no scope for any mistakes there. You have to be your questions have to be structured. Again, the word structure. The speeches that you make, if you're given like 4 minutes to summarize a situation, to summarize an event that you went through, or a political situation, or whatever, you're given like, a very limited amount of time, and there is no scope for mistakes at all. You have to be on point. You have to use the correct words, the appropriate words. There are no do-overs. So the structure that I was creating in my life, that was manifesting in my career as well. And I was stuck in journalism and publishing for a long time. I wanted to move into fiction, which is much more fluid and, all of that, beautiful and, juicy. But somewhere, I don't know why, I stayed on in journalism for a very, very, very long time. I mean, even after, so I'm a Shakti practitioner. And even after I started training to be a Shakti practitioner, I chose to keep my job as a, in publishing and media for a long time. Because I think somewhere I was substituting. This is how I was sort of bringing structure into my life, because I felt that if I didn't have these punishing structures in my life, it would fall apart. So when I connected to Odin, I realized that structure could also come from a very humane father figure way. So thank you, Olga, for, I would say, introducing me to Odin. I knew about Odin from folklore, but I never connected to him in that way. And since I'm a Shakti practitioner, I also work with, so the opposite of Shakti is Shiva, the divine masculine. So I also have to work with gods. I've worked with various gods, but I've never had the opportunity to connect with Odin. And I found that Odin is a very relatable god, as in, there are gods, it's very difficult to connect to them, or, but Odin, I called him in and he just made himself available for me. That wise father figure. Okay. These were his exact words to me. What do you want? Right. And I remember I just cried because I was like, I didn't know what I wanted. And that's when I realized that I wanted somebody to ask me this question. But at the same time, I couldn't really articulate it. Like, what is it that I really wanted? I was so used to holding the fort for myself that if somebody were to ask me this simple question, what is it you want, my child? I would not be able to answer it. And even when I started answering it, a lot of shame came up. I was like, okay, can I ask this? Am I and I realized that these were things which as a little girl, I was not allowed to ask for these things. So even now, as a woman who's in her 30s, if somebody is like, Odin is a god, you can just go up to him and, just present all your woes and worries and all of it. But even to such a benevolent father figure, I was not able to sort of I wasn't able to bring myself to, open my heart to him. It took me 3 days. It really took me 3 days. All those voice notes I sent you during that time, you remember, they were like wild. That's where it was coming from, because I was like, what is it that I really want? I started asking myself the question, what is it that I really want? And then I started connecting to Wunjo. And the first image that came to my mind, how I experienced Wunjo was, I was holding, the sign, the rune, which is shaped like a flag. To me, it looks like a flag. And I was this bird who was carrying it in its beak. And I was flying all over. And this word red flag kept popping up in my mind. And I realized that this bird, even though she was flying, she had this so flying across cultures, it is known as something very liberating. But as a bird flying there with that red flag in my mouth, stuck to my beak, I felt that this was the most dangerous experience that anybody could have. So how that translated for me was that, okay, so while I was going through this, I got this other image where, I think I was in my late teens or my early 20s, and I was watching this documentary on Coco Chanel. And the only thing I remember from that documentary, there were a lot of things, but the only thing which I remember, which even I don't think I knew that this part of the documentary existed so vividly in my mind up until that day when this came to me. I suddenly remembered that she had spent the last 15 years of her life in a hotel suite, I think in the Ritz. And that had somehow fascinated me back when I was in my early 20s and late teens. I was like, this is a cool life, as in I can just do what I want. I can create art. I can do whatever I want, as in, socialize with friends, have work meetings, whatever. But I don't want to have a home of my own because I don't want those responsibilities of, having a home and a hearth, building a home, looking after, the maintenance of the house, all of that. All of that, to me, that sounded like, again, structure, as in something that is going to tie me down. And, I felt that I would never be able to live my life if I was tied down to those structures. And it suddenly made me realize how, these are all limiting beliefs. At the end of the day, just like having a home, having a house does not mean that you, are going to be tied down. It does not mean that you can't live your life the way you want to. And so if I had to sum up what Wunjo it showed me, it was that you can have your freedom through some structures. Not all structures are bad. Some structures are going to lead you to freedom, and that will lead to lightheartedness and joy. So for me, even my spiritual practice for that matter, I think I was trying to make up for the fact that I didn't really have any structures in my life. The reason I went into spirituality in the first place was to have this assurance to myself that even if there are no structures in my life, even if I have nobody to take care of me, I can live life in a very footloose fashion because I have the gods and the goddesses and the spirits and all of them available to me. And Wunjo showed me that you can have structure, and through that structure, your freedom can arise from that structure. That having no structure can also manifest as having no freedom, if you know what I mean. Sometimes having no structures means that you're curtailing your own freedom. So it's time to invite some healthy structures into your life and to trust people to be able to give you that structure, that you don't have to do it all by yourself. So yeah, that was Wunjo for me.
Yeah, that was very beautiful. And I asked Shruti not to share with me what she got until the video now. So, like, I can relate. We've been talking about Coco Chanel, blah, blah. And now I'm like, oh, okay, I get why she was talking about it. Yeah. Yes. We were comparing Odin to Shiva, and like how Odin is so much more a human god, like human relatable god, rather than Shiva, who is more like all encompassing and not so much relatable, but yeah.
Yes, he's much more abstract. And as in, if you are in the middle of a crisis, then you can just go up to Odin and talk to him like he's a human father. And with Shiva, like, you might have to spend some more time with that energy.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, my cats are going crazy. Blocks. Blocks and structure. They're never like that. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for sharing, Shruti. It's really cool. And I love how we also connecting to the Hindu god structure through you. Like Rosa shared that she gets to see more of Hindu gods now. And yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and mention what I got, which was very similar to all of you guys, just more related to what I'm going through, just like you guys too. And I saw, actually, like my biggest block to connect into this was that I was having a horrible pain, and like I hated everyone because I had period. So I was just realizing like I really need a lot of help. Like I can't do this on my own. I can't. So I just asked my guides And everyone that I called up at that time, I just asked, like, I need help. Like, I need help. Help me, yeah, I could connect finally. And I saw myself as this stone person, almost like the stone people from the fairy realm. But it's like I felt they were teaching me something, but I didn't see it in a good way in me. I saw it more like something very, very ancient. Oh, I saw many, many beings who were super ancient, and they were part animal, part human, which I felt was from the fairy realms again. But they were like very ancient and just. And just before that, I was actually working on clearing my blocks to working with deities, because I have no problem working with someone like cabbage and carrot, and the soul of cabbage, the soul of carrot, the soul of dandelion. But once it comes to deities, even Odin, I'm just having like a block, because I feel like I didn't really heal my own self-worth yet. So I felt like I can't connect to somebody who is considered to be cool, or, like has authority. I don't know, God, is a big word. So I was just recently working on my blocks to that, because every time I think that I want to work with a deity, I think that I'm not working with them because I need to heal my self-worth first. Otherwise, I'm afraid that I'm doing it just to like get their coolness or something, or to tell people that, oh, I'm working with this god or goddess, and somewhere within me there was this resistance. And it was true earlier, and I didn't even realize it, that throughout this 3 years with working with Paula, our teacher in shamanic healing, I have healed enough to be able to work with deities without these beliefs, limiting beliefs about it. So yeah, I was just seeing a lot of ancient beings, and then I saw myself as a stone, and the stone was basically like the fossilized me that's very, very old and ancient, that hasn't changed for a really long time, and it has become a stone. And there's no way I felt really limited and tight in there. And I was like, I was trying to get out, and there was just no way I could get out, because I was a stone structure. Like, I was just a stone, and there was a light inside of me, and I just couldn't get out of the stone me. And so Wunjo came and cracked the hell out of the stone. And I can connect to Rosa talking about pecking, because I saw triangles of cracks, like the stone was cracking in shapes of triangles, and I could see the light inside coming through in the shape of triangles, and it was cracking, and I was still not believing that I can be free of those stones, which is me, the old me. And then they did something funny. They kind of distracted my attention to something a series I watched today. So they like showed me a cake from that series. I'm like, oh, nice cake, And then when I remembered that I'm actually meditating on Wunjo, I was like, oh, I saw myself as this light ray going up and down, and the stone was out. And I was like, oh, what they did was kind of like what you tell the kids, like, hey, look, elephant, when you don't want them to look, or adults. It works on me all the time. Like, if you say, hey, look, elephant, like, I'll look there, and then you can do anything during that time. So they did that. Look, cake. And then, so it was about that. It was me asking for it. Like Rosa was saying, you need to participate, or like you need to actually be, I don't remember the words you use, but for me, it's like you need to be the one asking for it, or you need to be the one making a decision that that's what you want. And then when you realize that you can't do it all by yourself, that's when Wunjo comes in and says, okay, look, elephant. And then it just breaks, it gets you out of the way or something. And I just broke up, and there was like this white light that just was shining. And I was very uncomfortable with it because the white light was, I usually work with yellow lights. Even you can see my room is all full of warm colors. I don't like white light. I don't like cool light. I like everything like warm. And I always work with whatever lights I work with. They're always like pink, some blue light, but it's like, it's not this cold white. Every color of the rainbow, I like to work with it. Pink, yellow, green, violet, purple, blue, everything, but not cold white. Everything except that. I really had a resistance to it, like really hate it. When my husband buys light bulbs and it's white light, I make him change everything. Like I refuse to use white light in the house. So that was so uncomfortable, white light. And it's like it was symbolizing something completely new for me. It's like completely new and uncomfortable. And it was like Wunjo's gift or blessing. I asked for its blessing. That's what I did. Blessing was that, and it's in the shape of Wunjo too. It's like, I also saw it as a flag, but a flag of freedom and sovereignty. The triangles were meant to me like the cracking. And then the line talked to me about when the crack is done, there's this light. So, but it went both directions. And I was really uncomfortable with the white light, and I asked the Wunjo to please help me get accustomed to this white light, because I was also freezing cold, unnaturally freezing cold from this cold white light. I actually turn on the heater in my room, which I don't do normally, and it's getting warmer now, so it's really weird. And then the Rune told me, oh, actually, this is the next stage. You ask the next Rune to help you to get acclimatized, to get accustomed to the new thing. But my job is actually just to break. And but they said you do participate in it because you ask for it consciously. So this is your participation. This is your focus. This is your creation. And I just come and help with that. Since you are really not capable of it, because like I was a stone, but with my desire, I could, because I asked. So that was, and I saw a lot of priests initiating people into stuff, anointing babies, like very, very ancient priests. And it's like I saw parents that came to the priest with a baby and said, oh, can you anoint our baby or something? But this is like super ancient stuff. And then the priest was like, okay. And they did something. And then I realized like, oh, the parents couldn't do it. The baby can't do it right now. So, but they want to. So they ask somebody else for help, somebody who is already good at one particular thing. And then they come along and they help with that particular thing. And that was also connected to me trying to break my resistance to working with deities. Because interestingly enough, like now I get clients who work with deities. And I'm like, no, I don't work with deities because I work with cabbage. We don't work with the bourgeoisie. We work we're hardworking class. We don't work with the people on top. I work with cabbage and potatoes. So, so I felt like this resistance was being worked on for me. Yeah. And and I got a lot of help with working through it, even though I had period pains. Then I realized, I wouldn't have been able to do it if I didn't ask help. So yeah, this was this was what I got from Wunjo, and also a little taste of what's coming next. And the next rune is like about something about rapid change, but I forgot the name of it. And yeah, it's like getting accustomed to the new. Like now we have worked with a lot of blocks, got rid of them, and now it's like getting accustomed to the new. So it feels like really liberating. Yeah, so that's my experience of Wunjo. And if anybody, yeah, I always ask like, when can people talk to Wunjo? In case of what? Like, what kind of problems do you come with to Wunjo for blessings, for help, for divination, for something? So that the answer is, yeah, when you want to do something but you really can't, just ask Wunjo for help to break something that seems impossible to break for you. Yeah, that's what I got.
Good stuff.
And in the beginning, I was talking about the introduction, talking about the Hebrew alphabet and everything. And I don't know why it's in my head all the time, wanted to mention that I'm from Russia, and we also have an ancient alphabet, which I don't know, which just looks like ancient. I don't know how to explain it. It's ancient Russian alphabet, but the letters also represent like concepts, different kinds of wisdoms. So and also I want to make a connection that like we come here from different backgrounds, and I guess like if anybody's watching this video and would like to connect to something like that, that they don't need to. It's not only about the runes, but if they come from a particular country or culture and they want to check out that culture or alphabet, I think like everybody, I felt like this is a similar kind of thing that you can connect to any alphabet, like probably like Sanskrit. Probably I can't because it's so hard for me to read. So like I bet like if you would connect to every letter of Sanskrit, or every letter of the Russian ancient alphabet or modern English alphabet, it's like, or any system, like any structure. Okay, there's the word structure again. Any structure that is complete, like numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the 0, it's a complete structure in our society. So if you're gonna connect to that, it's like we're gonna get kind of similar experiences, but very different organization, kind of like that. Yeah, wanted to mention it.
I don't think I have anything to share. For me, everyone. It's interesting to hear everyone's perspective, and I could see the parallel to their perspective to the things I was getting. So I love that. I always said this is so much fun when different people connect to the same thing. You get the same thing, but you just say it so differently.
Yes.
I think for me that's so much fun to observe that.
Yes.
And the different blocks that came up in all of us.
Yes.
Applause for everyone for letting them blocks come through.
It was interesting.
Love it.
All of a sudden, like my nerves hit me like a bunch of rocks.
When you were coming here? When
I started talking, I was just like,
I felt it. I felt it. I had to do a blessing to discern between you and me. I wasn't sure who it was, but I was like, what's that? That was interesting.
Like, whoa, so much fear. It's like, I mean, I'm not used to public talking, but shit, that was abnormal. But,
yeah, I thought that was interesting too.
Nice. That was exciting.
Yeah, I do think it's cool. What you're talking about with the symbols and the alphabet and all that. I mean, a symbol like the ruins or the Om and all that are an alphabet, but there's so much. But it's like there's like all this knowledge of like practically everything in like each one of them, but they're their own specific energy. And heal and help in their own way. But it's always fascinating because then there's also the people that meditate on it and use them for whatever they use them for and help in that way, which contributes to the symbol itself and what it can do and overall power, I guess. So it's an interesting thing. There's so much where it's just like words, even speaking the words we speak, like it contains the energy of what we're getting if we're connected to that while we're speaking it. But it, it's how we communicate what we can, and it's a fascinating thing to me.
Okay, and to our audience, thanks for listening that far. If you guys are interested in any healing shamanic healing sessions from me, Ryan, and Rosa, and Shakti healing sessions from Shruti, you guys can find all of our contact details in the description box below. And if you guys connect to any kind of symbol system, doesn't have to be the Elder Futhark runes or any system, and you guys have insights to share, we'd love to hear them in the comments. And thank you guys for listening. We hope you find it interesting. Please click like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys surely in the next video. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.